Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the novel Pamela, a Virtue Rewarded, written by Samuel Richardson. This novel is considered one of the earliest English novels and an important work in the history of English literature. In this lecture, we'll discuss the author, historical background, plot, themes, characters, narrative techniques, literary significance, and criticism of the novel. First, let us know about Samuel Richardson. He was an 18th century English novelist and printer. He is regarded as pioneer of the English novels and he is often called the father of the domestic novel because he focused on family life, emotions and morality. Richardson was famous for his psychological realism, meaning he explored the inner thoughts and feelings of characters in detail. His important novels are Pamela, Clarissa, and Sir Charles Grandison. To understand the novel properly, we must know the historical background of 18th century England. This period is called the Age of Reason because people value logic, morality, and education. During this time, the middle class became stronger, literacy increased, and printing expanded rapidly. Novels became very popular, especially among women readers. Society also gave great importance to morality and proper behaviors. Now, let's see the literary form of the novel. Pamela is an epistolary novel. An epistolary novel is a novel written in the form of letter. The story is mainly told through Pamela's letter to her parents. This technique creates realism because readers feel as if they are directly reading the private thoughts and emotions of the character. It also gives psychological depth and increases readers' involvement. The title of the novel itself is very meaningful. Pamela refers to the heroine of the story. The second part, Virtue Rewarded, shows the moral message of the novel. Richardson wanted to show that honesty, purity, self respect, and moral integrity will finally be rewarded. So, the title reflects the central idea of the novel. Let's move to the main character. Pamela Anderson is the heroine, a 15 years old servant girl who is intelligent, virtuous, and courageous. Mr. B is a wealthy landowner and Pamela's employer. Pamela parents supports her morally through letter and advice. Mrs. Jokes is the housekeeper who helps Mr. B and keeps Pamela under skirt control. Now, I'll briefly explain the plot. The novel is set in 18th century England and mainly deal with virtue and resistance. Pamela struggles to protect her honor from the important advance of Mr. B. The conflict in the novel is between power and morality. Finally, Mr. B reforms himself, marries Pamela, and her virtue is rewarded. In the first part of the story, Lady B dies and Pamela loses her protector after this. Mr. B starts showing unusual attention towards Pamela. He attempts to seduce her several times. But Pamela strongly resists him. Even though she is poor and powerless, she refuses to compromise her moral values. In the second part of the novel, Pamela is taken to Mr. B's estate in Lincolnshire. There, she is almost imprisoned and consistently watched by Mrs. Jocks. She becomes isolated from her family and suffers emotionally. However, she remains firm in her principles and continues protecting her honor. In the final part, we see changes in Mr. B's character. He begins to respect Pamela's honesty and virtue. Slowly, he reforms himself and sincerely proposes marriage to her. Pamela accepts the proposal, and society also accepts her rise from servant girl to lady. The central themes of the novel is virtue. Pamela represents moral purity, chastity, honesty, self-respect, and religious faith. Throughout the story, she faces many challenges, but she never gives up her principles. Richardson shows that moral goodness finally leads to success and happiness. Another important theme is social class and mobility. The novel reflects the rise of middle class values during the 18th century. Pamela, who belongs to the servant class, eventually becomes a respected lady. Richardson suggests that personal merit and virtue can be more valuable than birth and social rank. The novel also discusses power and gender relationship. Mr. B represents male authority and society power, while Pamela represents female vulnerability. At the same time, Pamela's assistance shows female strength and empowerment. Even though she is socially weaker, she courageously fights against oppression. Religious is closely connected with morality in the novel. Pamela frequently prays and depends on God for strength. Christian values guide her actions and discussions. Richardson presents the idea that God rewards virtue and punishes immoral behaviors. Pamela Pamela is one of the most important female characters in English literature. She is virtuous, intelligent, determined, faithful, and emotionally strong. Her courage and self-respect help her survive difficult situations. Richardson presents her as an ideal moral heroine. Mr. B is portrayed as a wealthy aristocrat with authority and power. At the beginning, he behaves immorally and tries to manipulate Pamela, but later he realizes his mistakes and learns self control. He transforms to become an important part of the novel. Richardson uses letter based narration very effectively. Since the story is told through letter, readers get direct access to Pamela's emotions and thoughts. This, create a real, this creates realism and psychological insight. It also makes readers emotionally connected with the heroine. Pamela is considered a landmark in the history of English literature. It popularized the epistolary form and helped develop realistic narration in novels. The novel also promoted middle class values and influenced many later writers in English literature. Although the novel became very popular, it has also received criticism. Some critics felt that the novel contains too much moral preachings. Others believed Pamela is presented as too perfect and idealized. Some readers also consider the ending unrealistic because Mr. B changes suddenly. To conclude, Pamela or Virtue Rewarded is an important 18th century novel that combines morality, realism, and social themes. Through the epistolary style, Richardson created emotional depth and psychological realism. The novel played a major role in the development of English fiction and still remain an important work in literary studies. Thank you.